This next video comes to us from Choy. Choy. In this video, very topically, as we were talking about earlier before we broke for reacts, it's talking about how the fight to keep Texas Chainsaw Massacre fun has begun, which is what we were talking about earlier, about how it's like, well, this game is basically boiled down to an efficiency fest, and if you're not playing it the most efficient way, you're probably getting your stuff kicked in, and you're having a bad time, and how the game was not designed to do that. And most people are playing Texas Chainsaw as a way to get away from sweatier ASIMs like Dead by Daylight, and its identity is becoming just another sweaty ASIM alongside Dead by Daylight, which is not the reason a lot of people are playing this game. It's because they want to get away from that stuff. So now either you're just going to become a main of one game or a main of the other, and you're not able to coexist in both, because they are essentially filling the same role, right? They're filling the same role. They weren't supposed to be competition. That's a thing I heard a lot of people say when this game was coming out, is like, hey, don't compare them because they're not competition. They're very quickly becoming competition because the way you play these games is becoming nearly identical. Go into this ASIM that's intended to just be a party game for fun, and abuse the fact that it has no rubber band mechanics to sweat your balls off and win as much as possible, no matter how much it hurts you, technically, by not getting XP or points or whatever, just so you can make the other side miserable because, man, some people just feel sad if they can't power trip. But like with every video, make sure you click that link that just showed up in the Twitch chat. If you're watching this in the future on YouTube, it'll be down in the description below. Support Choy. We've watched Choy's videos basically ever since we've started the React Andy whole segment that we do every here on Tuesdays. I at twitch.tv/TheMasterHeadache if you're watching on YouTube. Hi, hello. Yeah, we've watched him ever since we've started this series, and makes excellent content. Always has. So please, now more than ever, make sure you support the official release by liking and subscribing, or else I hate you. All right.
It's happening. The intense calls for nerves and balance are popping up everywhere you look when it comes to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or TCM for short.
TCM.
Now, I know most of these suggestions do come from a good place. It's the DBD logic of balance the game to make it better.
I don't like where this is coming. I don't like how this is already starting, which is like the DBD players are... no, okay.
The problem is, and not even exclusively looking
at
DBD here, look at any competitive game, heavy balancing leads to less interesting and less fun gameplay. Before I go any further...
Oh, you mean Connie just on the gas station, just going and speed running the exit gate? That's fun? Just go into that gas station door and just out? Yeah, just leave that. It's fun. It's fun. It's fun. Look me in the eye. It's fun, okay? It's fun. You mean Sissy literally exploiting a bug that shouldn't function the way it is? Yeah, just leave that in. It's fun, okay? Don't balance it. Gosh, DVD players. Just take it, stupid.
I want to add some context to my perception of the game right now. Since TCM has come out, I've only played the family in solo queue. I haven't played Victim one time. However, I do spend a lot of my free time watching content creators who almost exclusively play Victim. Now, when the technical test, or beta as some call it, from months ago ended, I sent the devs a huge list of meaty balance changes I thought would make TCM better, which thankfully they largely ignored. I was still in that DBD mindset of, well, this isn't fair and this is a problem, blah 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 blah. I'm showing it here in the background if you want to see it. But thankfully, my obsession with TCM after the beta led to watching any VODs or videos I could find of the game, and I saw so many people having different and varied experiences, having a total blast playing it. That's when it dawned on me that a lot of my balance changes would lead into that slippery slope of having a dull game. That's why I said in my last TCM video...
Okay, I hear this with DBD too, and it just like... If your only fun in the game is just like curb stomping the other side, like, are you okay? Like, why is this so... I hear this in every ASIM. Brother, we should be able to just like... brand new parts should be reverted back to the original where you can just complete a gen like instantly. That was so funny. It's like, no, it wasn't. It was funny for one side. The other side was f***ing miserable. This is fun at the expense of other people, the design. Fun at the expense of other people is not fun. That is not making the game dull. That is compromising the fact that somebody having so much fun, just elated, jumping for joy, is happening while the other side is like, wow, I'm feeling like uninstalling this game because I'm pissed off at what just happened. That's not balance. Not even a game perspective, but just in like a life perspective. That's not balance. That's one person very happy, the other side just exist. That's not good. That's not good. And people say this every single ASIM game that come out. They said it with VHS, Dead by Daylight. It's always had this conversation. And now it's stretching to TCM where it's like, just leave in the broken stuff. It's fun. No, it's fun at somebody else's expense. And it's spoken by people who do it themselves. That's why. It's spoken by people who do it themselves. It's spoken by people that only play in 3-mans, only play in groups, so they don't have to deal with this stuff as much. It's spoken by people that do the gas station exit every single time, the 5th exit that shouldn't exist, but it's just there because they I don't know why. It's the people that always go out the front door of Family House, go out the window to cheese the fact that you have to unlock 1 or 2 doors to get out there. Just always go out the front glass because that, exit doesn't have a gate. The people that advocate for this are the people doing it because they want to keep their fun at the expense of other people. They don't care who it hurts because the fun they had was so great that who cares who it hurts? It's a very, very, very selfish mindset. Very, very selfish mindset. Selfish mindset. You are putting your memory of like that time that like, you fuse rushed that Bubba and like he stood in the exit gate or the exit door and you just like shoulder checked past him as Leland even though he was doing his best to stop you. You laughed so hard at that Bubba that was doing his best, and that is a core memory for you in this game. You're like, heck yeah, I love TCM, but that Bubba's probably right. That Bubba player's probably like, bro, I did everything I could and it didn't matter. That sucked. But who cares about that guy's feelings, right? Don't want to make the game dull now, would we? Don't want to make the game dull now, huh? Couldn't have that. I'll say it, KJ. Hopefully you're doing well.
Before the game even released, that if you're the type of player that really cares about winning, you probably won't enjoy the game. Competitive players, DVD players especially, really like having a lot of control.
No, you will enjoy this game because that's what the game is. You will enjoy this game. There's no party aspects to this game. If you play casually, you will get dunked on. A coordinated family team, you're just messing around. You're not going for fuse box. You're not going for like valve exit. You're not going for 5th exit on gas station. You're probably going to get dunked on. You're probably going to get dunked on. Same thing on, same thing on the other side, right? Family, if you're not playing the best characters, always playing optimally, you're not, trust me, we faced this a lot today. Having a bad random team on Family where you're not able to guard all the exits because nobody's listening to comms, you're going to have a bad time. You're going to have a bad time. So, no, as a matter of fact, I completely 100% disagree. And I think that's the main problem with Texas Chainsaw, is it is becoming just a second sweaty ASIM. And it is made for you. If you like sweat and ASIMs, it is made for you. You can win this game in 30 seconds to a minute with the right team, with the right perks. You can just win. You can sweat your balls off in this game. And there is nothing stopping you. I completely disagree. I think this game is made for sweaters. It's made for sweaters more than Dead by Daylight is. Can you win a game of Dead by Daylight in 30 seconds? No, some of the fastest speedruns on the Dead by Daylight like speedrun website are like a minute and a half, something like that. Minute and a half, 2 minutes. No, you can win this game faster. You can win this game faster. No, this game is more made for sweats.
Control over the matches they play. They love to use sweaty builds and sweaty tactics, but TCM limits your individual control over a match. Even if you're the biggest Sweatlord family member this side of the Mississippi, victims, maybe not all, will still escape and vice versa.
No, it's not vice versa. It's not vice versa. No, it's not. It's not like that at all. Why is he saying that? Is he playing the same game that I'm playing? That's not like that at all. That is true. Who was it? A Sunny? Who was that? I didn't put somebody down in like 30 seconds of the game. That guy did not have fun. I was just running around the basement's bubble. I saw somebody like, and I just put him down. Because I have the one-shot build, right? I have the one-shot build. My build is optimal on Bubba. And I wasn't even fully leveled up. I'm not fully leveled up on that build yet. Think that guy had fun?
The game was intentionally designed. The mindset of nerfing things usually has more negatives than positives. With TCM, if the community is looking at valid criticisms that need to be addressed, we can't just put blinders on and say, nope, everything is perfect, the game has no issues, go away. However, we do need to think outside the box and always put fun in front of every change we're advocating for. Let's look
Well, that's why they want changes, because the game's not fun right now. When I start a game up as family, I start calming out. No matter who I'm playing, nobody's listening to me. I can't ping or anything, so I can't get their attention anyway. The basement exit is open in like a minute, and I'm like, guys, we got to do something about that. And then everybody escapes. Like, that's not fun for me. Like, yeah, it's gonna happen sometimes. Like, sometimes you run into a sweat squad, they put you down, whatever. Winning isn't everything, but it's like every other game. It's like this experience happens like 2 out of 3 games. It is like that is why, because like fun isn't happening. Like you don't even get to play those games where your cook's like listening but not telling anybody what he's listening to. Your hitchhiker's put his traps in all of the wrong places, and you had to play Bubba because you can't start the game without Bubba. But like because nobody's calling out to you, you don't know where they are. Like facing a team that's like, you know, a Leland that's got all the right perks to stun you for like a bajillion seconds, and he's just keeps backstabbing you every 2 seconds. Like it's fun at the expense of other people, is what I keep saying. Like fun is happening at the expense of other people to an extreme extent. Fun is being taken away. That's the problem. If you want to put fun at the front of all your balance decisions, fun is happening a lot of this game at the expense of other people. So if you care so much about people having fun, that's why they're asking. They're not asking for it so they can win more. They're asking, hey, can I at least get out of the opening fucking cutscene without being stuck in a stun loop? Which is apparently a lot to ask. No, it doesn't, Rogue. It doesn't.
Connie as an example only. There's a lot of criticism that she ruins the pacing of the match, which leads to calls to nerf her ability.
She's the brand new parts of Texas Chainsaw. That's her deal. She's the BNP of Texas Chainsaw. She does something that's very vital to progressing the objective, which is breaking through locks, and she just breaks through one. Yeah, she's the BNP of Texas Chainsaw. Yeah.
Instantly break locks at the cost of her stamina bar being depleted. Now Triar's already figured out that she can use a perk to negate the hindered effect completely, so basically that doesn't matter anymore either. So instead of just saying nerf her, make her ability less powerful, let's look at what the problem actually is. If Connie is able to burn through locks before the killers can even set up, the victims will escape before a match even really has a chance to start.
But no. But that's good. That's a good thing. That's fun. It's fun, right? It's fun for that Connie to do that. So don't want to make the game dull now, do we? Don't make the game dull, okay?
The real problem here is a lack of interaction. So instead of nerfing her ability, let's brainstorm how to make her ability more interactive. How do we get the family members involved so it's not just a waste of a match and everybody's time? The first thing that comes to my mind is that she instantly breaks the lock, which would have to be loud. So maybe it could create a very...
That's still a nerf, though. Like, what do you... That's still a nerf to her power. You're like, hey, let's not nerf it. Here's a proposed nerf. No, that's a nerf. Call a spade here. That's a nerf. Don't be like, I'm the purveyor of fun here. I'm not nerfing it. It's like, that's a nerf. What? Okay.
Loud noise notification for the family. Or maybe it could show the aura of her and the door. Drive interactivity. Make it as fun as possible for both sides. Let me know.
Yeah, you're literally saying, let's nerf it in a way that's better for both sides and not nerf it by taking it away. That's still a nerf. Okay.
Ideas in the comments as well.
I really agree with his takes. This one's
to buffing Cook's
these are weird
or something too, as long as we avoid boring nerfs. On the flip side, there's a lot of complaints that Sissy is overpowered. Sissy has basically no utility outside of killing, and I've watched victim
That's not
streams
true.
where they
That's not true at all. It's not true at all. Are you playing the same game that I... Whatever.
Advocated for nerfing
roll
her
it. Go ahead.
because she's too deadly if she's chasing you. But if she's deadly, what does that make the other family members? Do you only want family members who aren't deadly? Think about what you're actually asking for.
Okay.
Also, Sissy's poison effect is currently bugged where it affects each of her hits instead of just her first attack.
And they haven't addressed this. They're like, yeah, that's cool. Just deal with it. But we're entitled for asking for changes in balance in a party game.
That has already been confirmed by the devs. So if that's the issue, that's more of a bug and has nothing to do with balance. Moving on, let's talk about two things that often get purposely conflated with balance talk: exploits and quality of life changes. Infinitely stunning another player has nothing to do with balance. It's an exploit.
Yeah, it does.
Even if you
It's
were
not
the
an
type of
exploit.
player to find it fun.
Wait, is there a bugged perk or something? I might be uninformed about this. It's not an exploit. Is there a bugged perk or anything with stunning? I thought that was just optimization. Yeah, it's just in the game. How is it an exploit? Exploit is like the rubber leg thing with Sissy. That's that. Or like her bug with, well, you can't really help it, I guess. If she's bugged to apply poison on every hit, you can't avoid that at all. Well, that's like an exploit, right? It's not one you're purposely using or can actually avoid in any way, but it's a bug that helps you win. That's not an exploit. That's just in the game. It's just optimizers found a way to do that. Unless there's something I'm missing. And if it is, please let me know. If there's like a perk that's not working right, like, let me know. But like, that's not an exploit. This sounds like, I love Choice videos. This sounds like copium to defend TCM. It really does. And believe me, I think this game has moments that are more fun than Dead by Daylight. But its bad moments make me never want to play it again. So I do want it to be better. But pretend like going, la, these things aren't happening. It's like, or calling it like, oh, well, the stun locks are just exploits. It's like, you gotta call it as it is. You can't just ignore things trying to be hopeful. You gotta face the music here, bud.
To do, you know in your true cringe soul that it is an exploit. Exploits should obviously be removed, and if you're above the age of 11, I really shouldn't have to explain why. The next thing is quality of life, meaning changes that just make the gameplay better without directly buffing or nerfing anything. For example, on Slaughterhouse, Cook and Hitchhiker both spawn near the generator. That means one of them has to spend literal minutes walking to the car battery on the other side of the map to turn it on, and then walk back.
But now it's not a thing. Battery's just on normal.
Johnny both spawn near the battery. It's a problem on every map, so a great quality of life change would be to either allow family members to pick their starting locations or just have better spawn logic based on...
I mean, bad spawns are part of balancing. Like, you could say it is nice quality. Quality of life for me is like, you know, the HUD looks cleaner. Or like, for example, perfect Dead by Daylight, blood point spending. Like the once you prestige, you can just press the middle button and it just eats all of them for you. It eats the cheapest routes. That's quality of life. That's making things feel better. Where you spawn in games is always, not even just in ASIMs, but in like games in general, where you spawn has always been part of balancing. Always been part of balancing. Believe me, people complain about that mostly at FPSs. But people have talked about like spawn points for like forever in games. That's definitely a part of balance.
Team composition. So if in the future,
because like the reason that happens in TCM, I'm going to explain, is because technically Hitchhiker and Cook are like quote unquote the same role. Like, you know, Hitchhiker is a trapper family, but like, you know, Cook is an info family. But you know, Cook comes with locks, so you can kind of do a little bit of both, which is why Cook is, you know, turning out to be pretty good now that the game is on its feet, because he both has info and lockdown utility, right? So like his job, in a sense, is similar to Hitchhiker's, which is to lock down something. He does it with traps, he does it with locks, right? He also has the ability to hear people, which makes him mostly a tracking guy, but he does have the ability to shut down and lock down areas. So they both spawn there because they fill the same role. So if you pick both of them, it spawns them both there because it's like, hey, that kind of character goes here. Yeah, and it would be a nice balance change, I'll say it, to put, even though they fill the same role, to put them, you know, on different sides of the map, even though the battery turns on its own now, just still put traps near the battery and stuff like that to lock down that area. It's still nice, but it is a balance change. It is a balance change.
You have criticism of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, preface it by specifying what type of issue you have. Is it balance? Is it an exploit? Is it a bug? Or is it just quality of life? And if it is balance related, throw out your best ideas on how your balance change could lead to more fun interactive gameplay for all players. Because if we go down the gray road of nerf over...
This happened a lot with VHS too, is people would try to like... People would try to do this with VHS too, where it was kind of like this, like, hey, if you guys are being too mean to the game, if you're not completely constructive with all your criticism, you're going to ruin the game. You know what actually, you know what's one of the biggest things that killed VHS? Not listening to criticism, and just kind of letting the game rock. The devs would actively mock people in the Discord and ignore people. We're like, hey, Monster seems kind of not fun or entertaining. Not even just that I don't get to win a lot, but like what I do is literally what I do in the video game is boring. They ignored that. That game's doing fine, right? That game's good. That game's still alive and doing great, right? If we had just hounded the community better, if we had just been more constructive, it would have been fine. I've heard this before. Interesting.
Tuned, a pinch too strong, or whatever, it will just make the game boring. In the future, I think we'll probably need to discuss entitlement as well as my fun versus their fun subjects. But for now, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours, and as
I think
always,
that's the main problem. I think it's funny that he brings that up at the end, because like this whole video can be dispelled by that. It's like my fun versus their fun. That's why people are asking for changes to the game, because the fun, like I've been saying this entire time, is coming at the expense of someone else. Fun is coming at the expense of other people. Yeah, the teen side of VHS was very fun. Very fun. I got to pull a sword and slay a werewolf. That was cool. You know what happened? A lot of Monster players stopped playing the game because their side actually wasn't too fun. And believe me, I tried to play Monster a lot in that game. I quit playing because I wasn't having fun. And they ignored that. Because the fun, even though people were having a blast on Teen, because Teen was hilariously fun, Monsters weren't having fun. It was coming at the expense of bullying a bunch of players. And they refused to change it because we don't want to make the game dull. Don't want to take the fun out. You ran out of players. You ran out of people to play. And we've been here before, and we're repeating the same mistakes. VHS still be played? Technically, yes. And they're pulling it down soonish. Although they have, like, what, 5 players right now? How are we in this position? How have we not learned? How have we not learned from this? How are we about to, like, torpedo a whole other game because we still haven't learned? Oh, it's the community. The community needs to act a certain way or else the game dies. No, it's not the community's job. It's not the community's job to make the game fun. Oh, well, we shouldn't balance it because it's a party game. No, if the game is unbalanced in a way that's at somebody's expense extremely, and it's super unfun, yeah, you should balance that. No, just leave it. You'll make the game dull. We've been here before. We've watched another ASIM die. And of course, VHS died for a lot of reasons. Like social issues behind the scenes, the hacking of their server, like so much other stuff went into that. If I don't say that, somebody's gonna be like, but wait, there was more. I know. But a big part of why VHS went down was these sorts of issues, and it was the same song and dance. You're being too hard on it. You should be nicer to the devs. They're doing their best. Don't take the fun out of the game. And then the only people that are left are the people who are sweating their balls off, who have been exploiting the same stuff that they've been doing since the beginning, because like, hey, it doesn't matter if I just absolutely just dogpile this poor wart who's doing his best to do anything. because I want to win and I want to feel good. It doesn't matter if my game is losing player count. I'm going to put this wart 6 feet under because he needs to get better at this party game. Like, and that killed your game. Was it worth it? That poor wart that didn't even know how to like do stuff correctly. You're like beating the hell out of him over and over and over again. Is your game still around? Did it work out for you? Is the game dull now that there's no fucking players? I'm glad you kept the fun. I'm glad the game wasn't dull. I'm glad the game was never dull. That's really cool. Turns out it's not around anymore though. Rogue, that is what is sitting on the table. That is what no ASIM has done. That is there. That will actually beat all the other ASIMs, in my opinion. If you actually add those cool like band mechanics that are in other party games, ASIMs will start feeling like party games. But you can't add those to the ones that already exist because they're already extremely established. Rubber banding, what does that mean? Okay, so I've explained this before, but I'll explain it again shortly at the end of this video. Rubber banding. Rubber band mechanics in normal party games like Mario Party and Mario Kart. I'll use the example of Mario Kart. In Mario Kart, if you didn't notice, there's rubber band mechanics. So you ever notice that when you're in first place, usually your items are really, really bad, but in your last place, usually you get like the blue turtle and cool stuff. That's on purpose because essentially the game only allows a certain amount of strength or sweat or gameplay to be happening at any given point between the first and last place player. This is their balance. If you try to pull this way by trying to like race too hard, you're getting penalties somehow, right? Like your items aren't as good. Whereas the person in the last place over here on my right, they're getting better items, so they're being brought more in. So essentially all of the gameplay happens between the rubber band, between the elastic, and the elastic bounces back and forth and keeps things relatively at this zone. In an ASIM, which has no rubber band mechanics, if somebody is, take a DBD example, somebody's running 4 slowdown and tunneling at 5 gens, this is what happens. This side just wins. This side gets the whole rubber band because there's no mechanics to keep the rubber band on the other finger. So this guy just gets the rubber band now because he pulled the game and the game didn't stop him. The game didn't stop him. The game had no mechanics to stop this person from just like trying his hardest. So now the rubber band's just on the other finger. Then they were like Survivor, right? Like that team I had the other day. Team brought what? All green and purple medkits. Very, very good. There was across 12 perks, there were like 3 that were non-meta. They pulled and they got the rubber band, right? They got the rubber band because there's no mechanics to stop them from just doing that. There's no mechanics to stop them from just pub stomping me. So they just get the rubber band now. Real party games, like actual party games, have rubber bands to keep things elastic, to keep things, keep one side from completely taking the rubber band. Keeps one side from taking the rubber band in its entirety. And then once an ASIM actually does that, that'll be the ASIM that actually is super fun and people like playing. And don't ever get mad at. Because, like, not to say people don't get mad at Mario Kart, but, like, you don't have people out here pub stomping in Mario Kart, Until there's an ASIM that does that, they're all going to end up in this situation. And it's better that we handle it the best we can instead of going, la la la, it's the community's problem. La la la, balance will make the game dull. La la la, I can't hear you, it's not happening. Work with what we have. Work with what it is. Because it's already here, it's already happening. We gotta tackle it, and no amount of shame on you, community, is gonna stop it from happening, okay? Like, that's a shame. I usually like Choy's takes, but I completely disagree with this one.